Hey everybody, it's me, Cynthia, otherwise known as Mama Mess of Complete and Utter Mess, a creative playground. And in this video, I'm going to share how I create these mini blends using the Sculpey Cabochon mold. Let's get started. Now, all you're going to need to make one of these blends is the Sculpey Cabochon mold, a little bit of cornstarch, a clay blade or a clay scraper, your clay roller, or a pasta machine. You can complete the whole project with your clay roller, but a pasta machine does make it a lot faster and easier. You're also going to need some clay. Not very much. It's really less than a quarter of a package of each color. Today, I'm going to use Primo Cadmium Yellow and Primo Pomegranate. Now, I'm going to start by swabbing the inside of the largest triangle mold with just a little bit of cornstarch. You know, usually when you use the cabochon mold, you leave the clay inside of the cabochon, and then you put this whole mold in the oven to cure it. But for this, we're going to have to pop the clay out of the mold, and so we want to put a release in there, and cornstarch works great as a release for this. Now I'm going to go ahead and take a little bit of my cadmium yellow, and it's been sitting here in the desk for a few minutes, so I'm just going to take some time to warm it up. Make sure it's thoroughly conditioned. A little bit of twisting. Roll it into a nice ball. Now, sometimes when you roll the clay into a ball, you get a wrinkle like that. And it's not so important for this project, but you wouldn't want to put that wrinkle down into the cabochon mold. You want the part of the clay that's going into the mold to be nice and smooth. I'm just going to go ahead and press this clay into the mold. Now, you can use a blade to remove the excess clay, but I don't do that anymore. I use one of these clay scrapers. You can get it really even in a child's pottery set. And the reason why I use it is because no matter how hard I tried when I was using the blade, eventually I cut the mold. So I don't want to do that anymore. Okay, so there we go. It's as easy as that. Now I'm going to go ahead and pop that out of the mold. Again, if I were actually making a cabochon, I would go ahead and bake it right in the mold. And that way you can be sure you don't deform the mold. I'm going to use a little bit more cornstarch this time. Or deform the bead, rather. A little bit of color transfer from the red. And again, this has been sitting here for a little while, so I'll go ahead and get it warmed up. You know, I was very happy to figure this technique out. Like most polymer clay artists, I absolutely love blends. They're beautiful. But there are times when you don't need, you know, a whole big sheet of blended clay. You know, maybe you just want to make a veneer for a focal bead, or, you know, you just have a little small project where, you know, you'd like a blend. And there are other times too where you want to make a blend and you just don't have enough clay to make a whole sheet. Now, this scraper did just kind of drag through the clay on me. I all of a sudden felt a lot of resistance. And what that means is the scraper has gotten a little bit dirty. And so I just use a little baby wipe there to clean it off. And now it goes through the clay much better for me. And again, we're going to just pop that out. And I'm going to go ahead and put one triangle right on top of the other triangle. And if any of you have ever made a large blend, then you already know where I'm going with this. Alright, so, you know, I did my lightest color first. That's what makes the most sense. Now I'm going to go ahead and mold 2 triangles of the red. Being pretty generous with the cornstarch there. And as you can see, the red transfers, or the pomegranate transfers much more easily onto your fingers than the yellow. Or at least you can see the transfer much more easily. Let me put that right in there. Pop that out of the mold. I used to use brushes to put the cornstarch in the molds. But then what would happen is, you know, I'd get going on a project, I'd get excited, and I'd use the brush for mica powder or something like that. And then, you know, the next time that I went to use the brush for the cornstarch, I would, you know, get mica powder all over the mold or texture sheet. That looks pretty good there. And pop it out of the mold. There we go. Put one triangle on top of the other triangle. Now I'm going to go ahead and put the triangles together. And like I said, if any of you have actually made a... Oh, let me wipe that red right off my hands. I don't know what any of us did before baby wipes. And we'll wipe it off there. But there we go. I now have, you know, a small rectangle. Half of it's yellow, half of it is red. And so this is great. You know, I don't have to put it through the machine and then, you know, trim it up. I just have the shapes I need right from the start. Now, I did mention before that you can complete this whole blend with just a roller, but it might take you a while. So what you would do is you would just get your clay rolled out. You can see they're kind of stuck together. You want to get those triangles stuck together. And I'm going to take a minute and stretch out my yellow a little bit. And then you would either roll or fold the clay. And you have to go in the same direction every single time. You have to either roll in the same direction or fold it in half in the same direction every single time. And if you look closely, you can see it's already blending right there. And you could just continue on like this until, you know, you got the sheet blended as much as you'd like it. The other thing that you can do is just fold the sheet in half and feed it through your pasta machine. You would feed this folded end through your pasta machine. Take it out of the pasta machine, fold it again, same direction, put it through the pasta machine, so on and so forth until you had the blend that you'd like. So I'm going to take a few minutes now to go ahead and roll this through the pasta machine, and when I'm done I'll come back and show you the blend. So I've put the clay through the pasta machine about 10 times, and you can see we're starting to get more of a blend. I just wanted to give you some idea of what the clay will look like as you go through the process. And I also wanted to just point out one thing. I have folded the clay in half. Now the clay is going to go through the machine with this side down, but I'm going to keep my fingers on either side of the clay as it goes through the machine, and that will stop the blend from getting too wide. Now I've gone ahead and I've put the clay through the machine a few more times, and you know, we really are starting to get a nice blend. But I wanted to show you a way that sometimes hurries the process along a little bit for you. And it's also a good technique to use if your blend starts to get too wide. You know, the clay just wants to go the length of the rollers. Whatever roller you use, the clay just wants to spread out. And when that happens, it can get hard to roll it up, and it can get hard to fold it. So one of the things that you can do if you want to speed up the blend process, or if it starts to get too wide, is you can roll up the clay. And then as you roll up, you also kind of push it in. Just keep pushing that in until the clay is, you know, about the width that you want it to be. Now you do have to watch when you use this method, because you can accidentally get some air bubbles in there. And so if you do, you want to make sure you get those air bubbles popped. So I've got the clay rolled up, and now I'm going to go ahead and flatten it out again. Get it flat enough to get it through the widest section, the widest setting on my pasta machine, without damaging the rollers or stressing the rollers out. And the other thing that I'm going to do here is I'm just going to go ahead and stretch my ends out a little bit so that they match each other, you know. And if you notice that, you know, one side of the clay is getting much longer than the other side of the clay, then it may be that this side is softer or more conditioned than this side. And so you might, you know, just always have to do a little bit of stretching there, a little bit of adjustment every single time. All right, I'm going to go back and get this, finish blending this. Now I've put the clay through the machine about 30 times now. And as you can see, we have much more of a gradient going on here. It's not totally smooth. And I probably would like to see a little bit more blending in here. But this gives you a good idea of the type of effect that you can get with the technique that I just showed you. You could continue blending this until it was exactly the way that you wanted it. And I probably will, blend it a bit more. And there's just no way to tell, how many times you're going to have to put it through the machine. Sometimes 20, 24 times is fine. You get a nice, beautiful blend. Other times it's, 40 or 50 times. So you can see that's why I said it might be a great idea to have the pasta machine and not just the clay roller for this technique. I had a lot of fun making this video, and I hope you learned something. Would you please hit the like and subscribe button below, and visit us at our website, www.completeandotamess.com. It really helps a small business like ours.